Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. So I've wanted to do this video a little bit earlier than this, but updates have kept coming out. I'm assuming we know the majority of everything by now, so here we go. I've talked at length about Season of Mastery on the channel, the various changes, how they're going to affect the game, but I haven't provided a real one place where you can find out what Season of Mastery actually is, how it's going to affect the overall game, and just a list of the various changes, in case you're curious about it and just wanted to find out all about it. The season will be starting very shortly after this is going live as the times shown on the screen, and you can already reserve your name prior to launch as well. So let's get started. And I want to start at the end. Season of Mastery is a seasonal server, the clue's in the name. It's a bit of a strange idea for an MMO, I agree. Usually they're about building up and playing a character over a long period of time, but this will not be working like that. Take it from the standpoint of, I like playing the game, I want to play a fresh server, but things have been spiced up a bit more to give it a slightly different experience from the first time around. Assuming things go well, there'll be a season 2 and 3 and 4, and if you look at the changes in any particular season and say, well, I don't like that, that's a deal breaker for me, there's always going to be a next fresh. And changes will probably get a bit more drastic the more we go on through the seasons. As for a pure reboot of Classic as Blizzard did it back in 2019, I'm not sure if that's ever going to be a thing, unfortunately, if that is what you're after. So the season will last 12 months total, after which you'll have a limited time to transfer your character to the Classic era servers. There will still be 6 phases overall, similar as Classic, but quite a bit of content has been moved forwards to phase 1. The Classic era servers will not play the same as seasonal ones. They're more for having your character there for posterity, or a trophy character, I suppose, because the gameplay there will be fundamentally different, which we'll go over. It looks like if you do not transfer your character, it's going to get wiped along with the season at the end of it in prep for the next fresh, and there are no plans to be able to move your character onto a TBC seasonal server or any live server at this time. So in what ways will the game be different? I'll try and divide this up into sections to cover all of the game. Your class. There's no dual spec, there's no changes to respec costs, no new class abilities or talents or class balancing whatsoever. You'll be playing the exact same class and spec that you did in Classic, with all of its benefits and all of its flaws. Leveling. Quests give 40% more XP, dungeon and elite quests give a burst of XP on top of this. Blizzard have aimed to get the leveling feeling somewhat similar in pace to how it does in TBC. Raiding. The debuff cap has been removed. World buffs are disabled inside of raid content, but should still work in dungeons and will work outside of them. The raids have undergone the most changes and are the main attraction of the season. It's called Season of Mastery, as the idea is you are going to master the raiding content. To this end, all raids will be buffed and will have increased health on bosses. They will use their abilities more or gain entirely new abilities. Magmadar summons core hounds throughout the fight. Gar has adds that knock you back. Baron Geddon has 3 living bombs up from 1, and they also leave behind a flame patch. Shazra summons copies that spam Arcane Explosion. Ragnaros will always submerge at 50% health. Onyxia has new adds and a conflag effect during flying, and many more changes. Blizzard want to up the difficulty without entirely changing fights. This will also be the case for raids moving forward, and I'd assume 25 mans as well. Dungeons. Dungeon content has not been buffed. Mage boosting has been nerfed, as well as certain gold farm spots for them. If in a group with a high level player, you will get significantly less experience. Mobs in dungeons gain progressively stronger countermeasures against being kited, such as immunities to slows, roots, and eventually a 50% movement speed buff. Hunters cannot sell Diamol tribute loot to players who did not tag the boss. Loot changes. This could have gone in a bunch of different sections, so I'll just cover them all off here. Diamol is in from launch. The tier 0.5 questline or dungeon set 2 is in from launch. We have Alterac Valley including the spell pen items. Warsong Gulch legs from Exalted should be in. Phase 5 loot rework such as Hand of Justice dropping from Emperor instead of Angerforge, and loads of new good items dropping from dungeons which are way better statted than the original loot. We have idols, librams and totems in phase 1. Templars and Dukes can be summoned in Silithus, and the level 50 Sunken Temple class quests will be in from day 1. PvP. We have an earlier version of AV with guards. All battlegrounds will be available from day 1. Ranking has been sped up. The minimum time for rank 14 has been moved down from 12 to 6 weeks. It still won't be easy though, you just have to know life for a smaller period of time. No same faction battlegrounds. Pre-made changes in TBC have been reverted. You can fully pre-made a 10-man Warsong Gulch or a 15-man Arathi Basin. I believe Alterac Valley will still be limited to 5 players maximum until people find workarounds. Battleground weekends are active on launch. Professions: increased amount of mining and herbalism nodes. Elemental earth, water and fire can drop from mining and herb nodes as well. Black lotus can drop from high level herbs, similar to how fel lotus works in TBC. You can even get a double black lotus drop in Season of Mastery. And finally, quality life or just other stuff. Meeting stones are now summoning stones as they work in TBC. A debuff is now applied after multiple attempts to pickpocket and BRD to combat bots. There's no spell batching. Auto dismount, similar to how it is in TBC, enabled. You can officially flag your character as hardcore, showing that you have never died in game. There is a community event aiming to take down Ragnaros with a full hardcore raid. I'll put the link to the site below if you're curious or you just want to follow along, because it's one hell of an undertaking. The LFG tool from TBC is in Classic. It's just an interface to find people without the spam in the LFG channel, doesn't teleport you to dungeons as it did in Wrath of the Lich King. Level 40 riding, training and mount cost has been reduced from 100 gold to 50 gold. Diamond Flask no longer benefits from healing. And I think that is about everything for Season of Mastery. I'm interested to see how the raids in the future are spiced up as well. They definitely get more difficult baseline anyway, throw in no world buffs and no class changes, and things could get a little bit interesting. I believe those were all the changes. I hope I managed to cover everything off nice and fast. If I missed anything, do pop it down in the comments below. As always guys, thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I shall see you on the next one very soon.